Hi friendly beaders, how are we? Well, I'm a bit late getting this video out as I have, well, I can't even speak again. I have had camera issues, memory card issues. So the other half, you know, these men, sorry guys, I know you're not all like that. He thought he'd borrow my memory card and off he went with it. And the memory cards that he replaced it with wouldn't work. So I've had an absolute nightmare trying to get back, but here we are. Yay! Don't know if that's good or not. I'm kidding. Right then, so if you remember in my last video where we made the tree of life, I said I'd be making a little wrap Tila bracelet, and here it is. Look at this. So the tillers and the buttons and the leather cording came from bbcraft.com, and you still have a chance if you spend £40 or $40, whichever currency you use. You will get £5 off if you use the coupon code Jane5. How cool's that? Jane5, put that in the coupon code and you get £5 off. So let's have a little look then. We got, or should I say I got 10 meters, I believe this was 10 meters worth of the 1.5mm leather cording. I had some Tila Beads, and you get 200 pieces in here. Now for this 7-inch bracelet that fits my wrist beautifully, I used, I think it was 27, yes, 27 Tila Beads. So just give you a little look, see? Spring, summer's on its way. Lovely jubbly. And some of the buttons. Now I only use one button obviously here, and you get 144 pieces. So these little buttons are ideal if you know people who have got metal allergies. Great little idea for making your bracelets. All you'd have to do if you were doing a beaded one is do a little beaded loop just big enough to put our little button through, and you have a nice way of making jewellery for people who have metal allergies. Now these are mother of pearl, I believe. I'm sure they're mother of pearl. I don't think it says on the shell, made of shell. So for the project you will need just one, and if you haven't got these and you don't want to buy a bag full, then use whatever you have, but I recommend these absolutely. For 144 pieces, I think it's fantastic. Great value. It'll keep me going for a very long time. It'll keep me going for 144 projects, won't it? And the Tila Beads, like I say, the Tila Beads you get 200. I chose a mixed package, and for my size bracelet, obviously if you need a larger bracelet, then you will need a couple more. You will need, so let's just start at the beginning then, Jane. For a 7-inch bracelet you will need to cut off 30 inches of your leather, or if you work in centimetres then it's 76 centimetres. To start off the project, if you can see here, because otherwise if you just went straight into the Tila Bead you'd have this nasty looking gap here. So I have used 6, so 3 at one end and 3 at the other end, 6 size 8/0 CBs, and just have whatever colour you have available, because of the mixed bags they're going to match, aren't they? So it doesn't really matter what colour size 8 C bead you need, but you will need 6 of those. A little closure. In my case I'm using one of the little shell buttons from BB Craft, and you will need some thread. Now I'm using Superlon thread, beading thread, but any beading thread will work. Okay, any beading thread will work. Fireline, wildfire, whatever, 1G thread, Dura thread, dragon thread, whatever thread that you have. And you will be needing 2 and a bit arm spans of your thread. Now when I say arm spans, that's taking your thread and taking it across your chest, open arms once, twice, you can't see me doing it, can you, and a little bit, just to make sure that we've got enough, rather too much than not enough. You will need 2 beading needles. Now these are a size 11 beading needles. 10s will probably be too big because you need to pass through the Tila beads twice in each hole. Okay, twice in each hole. So you will need something that's fine enough. If you're going to be using Fireline, then I would go £4, absolutely no larger than £6. Okay, what else will you need? We've done the leather, we've done the seed beads, we've done the Tila beads, the button, we've done the thread, we've done the beading needles. You'll need a tape measure. Obviously I've had my little Percy out on his little outing look. He loves a bit of an outing, don't you, Percy? Yes. Excuse my sense of humour, I'm a bit mad, aren't I? But yeah, little Percy comes out on his on his little trip. Okay? You need an oddment of cord or sellotape. For that reason, what do we need that for, Jane? Well, you need a beading, a tray of some kind. This is just off a lid off a craft box. Okay, so once I've got my bits together, I will show you what I mean. But you can use a macrame board if you have one of those. You can use one of those if you like. Or just a, I don't know, a tray, a cardboard box that's nice and got a bit of edging to it. And you will need a beading mat. I just plonk my beading mat inside there, inside my tray, and that will keep everything together. You will need a bit of cording. Now what did I do with my cording? To tie on the project onto the tray, or you can use sellotape. Okay, but all that will become clear as we get our bits and bobs together. Is there anything else that we need? No, we've done the bit of cording. This, like I say, is just to tie on my project, and I will show you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay, yeah, so get all your bits and bobs together, your needle, your thread, 8OC beads, your button for closure, your Tila beads, and your leather, and we'll be right back. Oh yeah, we need some scissors. Some scissors to cut our thread, and some cutters to cut our leather. Okay, get all your bits and bobs together and we'll be right back. So then guys, once you've cut your length of leather, now if you wanted to do a double, just extend your cut to 60 inches and then you could do a double wrap around. Do you know what I mean? Instead of having it singly like that, you could do a double wrap around and still have the same closure. Okay, but you just go around your wrist twice. Okay, if you wanted to do that, but that'd make a really long video and I didn't want to keep you for longer than I have to. So I've cut mine to 30 inches and I've just used my little cutters just to put a little bit of a point on those ends. Got my little button and I'm just going to thread my leather through, holding them the same size, pulling my button through. Okay, now we're just going to tie an overhand knot to secure it. Okay, So what I mean by is holding our our leather, making a loop and passing both of our ends through our little loop, and then manoeuvring, that's a good word, our leather up to our button. Okay, giving it a little pull, pulling on each individual strand, manoeuvring our button as we go. Manoeuvring our button as we go. Okay, so I have a knot. Bringing those two ends together, and I'm just going to do another little overhand knot at the bottom. Just for the way that I'm going to attach my cording onto my tray. Okay, so I have my overhand knot at the top securing my button in place, and I have an overhand knot at the bottom just to keep my cords in place. Okay, now I'm hoping we're going to be able to get all this in so you can see, so I'm going to have to widen you out a little bit, so bear with. Don't look at the mess on my table. Right, so this is a top of a craft tray. Okay, here's my extra bit of cord. Now I'm going to just find the centre, bear with me now, and just loop it around the button, just to hold it in place. Okay, so I've just looped the cording around the button just to keep it secure. I haven't got any sellotape handy. If you've got sellotape, you can tape yours to your tray. Okay, now bear with, taking the cording around the bottom of my tray. I'm going to turn this over so you can see. Popping one end through where we've made our knot on the leather, and just tying a couple of knots just to hold that firmly in place while we work. Okay, turning our tray back over. I've got my bead mat, positioning ourselves so we can work nicely, and as we work these will open up. Okay, now I'm going to bring the camera in there we are. Sorry if you've felt a bit seasick there, do apologise. So I'm going to bring, because I know I need 6, so I'm going to bring 6 little 8OC beads in, and I know that for my size bracelet I need 27, so I'm just going to count out 27, all just to mix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm just using a mix of colours, guys. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Now if I don't like the mixture of them colours, I can swap a couple out, so I'm going to swap a blue one there, think I'm quite happy now with what there is, and I've still got all these left. You can make, if there's 200 pieces, you can make, what, 3 and a bit. 27, no, that's, yeah, 27. No, you can make four bracelets, can't you? 4 plus bracelets. Get rid of my tickle. So all I've done now, guys, is I've threaded my needles. I didn't think you wanted to sit there for 10 minutes while I try to thread my needles. And because you're working with such a long piece of thread, I've just pulled down on either side so it's equal the tail ends, okay? So we're going to pop underneath, find the middle just by pulling your threads together, find the middle, it's about the middle. With our right hand we're going to go under, and with our left hand we're going to go over the top and under, pulling both needles up and taking it up to our knot. We're just going to do that again. We just want to make a nice secure start, so over the top and under the left one, over the top and under, or if you like through the middle and out to the right with our left. And again just pulling our thread up to our knot. Easy peasy lemon squeezy so far, hey? Right, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start with my right hand, but if you're left-handed you just need to do it the other way, okay? Picking up one of our 8OC beads, I'm going to pass, no Jane, back up, so yes, that's right. Stop laughing at me. Right, so we're going to pass through our seed bead with our right hand, picking up our left. Now if you're using Nymo Superlon thread, same as what I am, or any beading thread, you need to be careful that you don't pierce your thread with your needles. That's the only downfall with using thread. Okay, pass through our seed bead both ways with both our needles, pulling our thread, and it will pop in a second, popping under with our right, under with our left, and we're just going to pop through again, okay? So with our right hand going through our seed bead, and with our left hand going through our seed bead, making sure that we don't pierce the thread, and pulling the thread together. Now you think, oh my word, I've got a hot mess, but you haven't. Bear with, see? And we just need to then pop the seed bead up to the top, give our threads a pull to tighten everything up until you're happy with the positioning. So before we start again then, now we need to go through the middle with our right, from the bottom through the middle with our left, and that puts us in position. Just add our next beads. So we're going to add 2 of our 8OC beads now. popping them through, popping the needle through with our left hand, coming through with our needle, crossing over in the opposite direction, making sure that we don't pierce our thread. Pull our thread apart, positioning them up to our first seed bead, going under with both our needles into the centre, pull our thread up. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm just taking our thread towards our button with our right hand, going through the 2 beads over to the left, and with our left making sure that we don't, now do this however you can, holding the other thread out of the way so we don't pierce it, over to the right. Looks like a hot mess. Stick with it, pull your threads nice and slowly and push them up, pulling our thread, push them up to meet our first seed bead. Okay, stick with it. You be the boss of your thread and be the boss of your beads. Don't let them rule you. Loosen yourself off, shrug your shoulders, whatever you need to do. Don't let it beat you, guys. So before we move on then, up through the middle from the bottom of our right, up through the middle from the bottom with our left, pulling our threads up towards the button and pick up our first tiller. So we're going through. If you notice on your tiller beads then, guys, you've got 2 holes, so it doesn't really matter which way you start because they will lie like that. Okay, so if you were to put your needle in that one, it just flip over. Okay, so through with our right needle, through with our left, if I can see the hole. Okay, pulling our threads to the left and to the right, and popping it up by our seed beads. Again, taking our right needle underneath through the centre and up, our left underneath through the centre and up, and this time we're going to come through the bottom hole. So bottom hole of the tiller bead, and with our right going over to the left. So the needles are crossing over and swapping each time, so what would be on the right ends up on the left, what would be on the left ends up on the right, and give our threads a little pull and make sure that our tiller bead is lying where we'd like it to lie. Again, before we add the next bead then, up through the bottom, pull up to the bottom, picking up our tiller bead, and I'm just really randomly doing this. I'm not doing any pattern. If you wanted to, you could. Crossing over, pulling our arms out to the right and left to get our threads moving. Up it goes. Before we go any further then, through the centre on each side and pulling up. And this is loosened off a little bit. Keeping our threads out of the way. Through one side. Got myself a knot in my thread. And just pulled everything out of whack. There we are. It will go back in a second. What happens to you, just do what I've done. Just weaving from one side to the other and pulling our threads tight. Okay, going through the middle, getting attached on everything. It's always important that you get your threads attached on everything. That's come undone there, isn't it? Let's just go around there a little bit more. Thought it had gone a bit loosey-goosey. Get on. That's it. That's better. Where am I now? Twist around. Let's just back out of this a second. Right. Back out of that a second so I can see where I'm going. Right, there we are. Okay, so through the middle and out, through the middle and out, pulling our threads up. Does that just come back off again? Taz, give me a second guys, let me sort myself out. I've got naughty cord, it's naughty. Right then, so both threads are up through the middle, picking up our next tiller, going through from the right to the left, pulling our thread through, going from the left to the right, pulling our thread through, pulling our thread to either side, and another one's in place, ready for the next bit. So before we move on, always remember, up through the centre, up through the centre, on one side, through the other side, and pull. Just pushing with our fingers over the top just to make sure everything's in place. Up through the centre, up through the centre, pulling our threads up a little bit. It just helps keep things in place and where they should be. Picking our next tiller bead up. Like I say, totally random. One side and the other side. Pulling our threads. And the more you do, can you see how easier they're starting to it's starting to come together. It's not so you're not so worried about things getting in a mess. through the centre and out to the side. Up we go, through the bottom hole of the Tila bead, and then the other side through the bottom hole of the Tila bead, and there you are. Remembering, before we go on to the next step, through the centre, through the centre, and pulling our work up. Are you enjoying this? Hope so. Hope you're enjoying it. We'll have a pinky one now. There we go. Through one side, through the other side. And you soon get in a rhythm, guys, don't you? Now you know what you're doing. You've put a few on. You can relax a bit. Take a little slurp of your gin and tonic. or whatever you drink. Me, I've got Diet Coke today. Get yourself hooked up. Always important. Always important to get hooked up. If your bead comes loose, just push it up and pull your threads, and it all magically goes back together. Through the bottom hole of our Tila bead. Through the bottom hole of our Tila bead. Pulling our threads. Before we move on, what do? We go under and through the centre with both of our needles. So now can we relax a little bit now? Now you know what you're doing, can we relax a little bit and have a bit of a chat? So what have you been up to, everybody? Been up to anything good? Me, I went, as you know, well, some of you know, some of you don't. If you're new to my channel, hello! How are you? Welcome to Jane's Mad World. Oh. Welcome to my mad world. Always remembering to go in between before we go through the bottom. Have any of you been and visited bbcraft.com yet? Anybody been and had a look? Any of you been and had taken advantage of the coupon code? If so, I'd love to know what you bought and how long were you there browsing at the website. Oh my word, there's lots and lots to look at, isn't there? Lots and lots. I think I lost a whole evening browsing. I got all beady-eyed. All I could see was beads and findings. That's all I could see. And my other half said, aren't you sick and tired of looking at that site yet? Me, no. Why would I be fed up of looking at beads? But it can give you a little bit of a headache, guys, can't it? You get all beaded out and you can't remember. And you end up with loads of browsers open of everything that you've looked at. Well, I'm doing anyway. Oh, I'll just keep that page open and I'll go and have a look at another bit. That's me all over. Me all over. So this is my last video for bbcraft.com, and then you'll have to wait and see what's in the pipeline, guys, won't you? So that thread's come down because I doubled my thread over because we're working with such a lot of thread. And just be careful when you're pulling your thread through your needle. Don't pull your needle, sort of pull your thread slowly. Pull your thread slowly. Just using my thumb and finger now to hold it steady as I making sure that I don't pierce the thread, because that would be an absolute nightmare. We've all done it though, haven't we? I'm still do it now, pierce the thread, and it's so annoying. You get overconfident a little bit and then forget about it and then end up piercing your thread, and and the easiest thing to do if you do pierce your thread is take your needle off. Take your needle off and pull your thread out. Through one side, through the other side. What's the weather like where you are? Here in Cornwall, it's been so grey. This winter has been really grey. I don't know about you, but it gets me down. I get a bit of the winter blues. And sometimes nothing can bring you out of it, you know. Sometimes even beading, it just feels like a big effort to even do any beading. And that's when I know, oh, I need to get out of the house, I need to go and do something. So I missed the first metal detecting dig of the year with the group that I'm with, because I was just in the doldrums. Not like me to get in the doldrums, is it? But I do in winter. Well, yeah. So a bit of bead therapy today in this grey, and it's quite windy, and up in Scotland, because we're the other end of the country here in Cornwall, for those who watch from other countries. Yeah, Cornwall's right down in the south, and Scotland is right up in the north, and they've had horrendous weather, terrible weather. I think in one place there was 100-mile-an-hour winds. 100-mile-an-hour winds, could you imagine that? Dear me. Terrible. And there was a loss of, I think there was loss of life and property, and I know over in America you get a lot of tornadoes and the like. We don't normally get anything like that here in England, but just lately I think we have had like little tornadoes that have been seen here in the UK. Quite scary to think how how nature works. So what else have I been up to? Oh, it's Tuesday today and I have my little grandson. Well, I say little, he's not so little anymore. He'll be 14. What day is it today? February the 1st today. He'll be 14 on the 3rd. The 3rd of February. 14. Crikey, where's that time's gone? Ryan has additional needs, so maybe 14 in age, but not quite in mind. He's a little superstar, he is. As he's getting older, you know what it's like with boys and girls. Once they get older, hormones start taking over a bit, don't they? Liking the finish on that one, guys. I'm going to swap it out and get another one. So 14. Can't believe it. Wish he was all little again. I do. Wish he was all little again. Why do we have to grow old? When you're young, you know what it's like when you're young. Oh, I can't wait till I'm older. And then when you're old, it's like, oh my lordy. I can remember, I mean, I'm coming up to 56. I'll be 56 in June of this year. And I think to myself, wow, weird. When I was sort of 18, 19, used to think anybody over the age of 30 was ancient. And now I'm here, I'm like, oh my. But I'm still 18 in my mind. Oh. It's been one of my things about growing old has always frightened me. I don't want to grow old. And I know age comes to us all, but we all have something that we're not keen on in life, don't we? We've all got something. And mine for me is growing old. Does anybody, have any of you got any secrets for anti-wrinkle cream? I'm getting some real good wrinkles around my eyes. I keep on saying it's laughter eyes, but these laughter eyes are creeping around my face. Oh, I've tried creams, but there's got to be some remedies out there. I did read that egg white, if you whip some egg white up and put it on your face, it closes pores and things. So I wonder if it'll do any good for wrinkles. I wonder if it'll do any good for wrinkles. Have you got any good home remedies for me to get rid of my wrinkles? Just seen a little knot in me thread. I'm hoping it's not going to give me any trouble later on. Better not do. I'm not in the mood for knots, especially if, well, I was on the phone to my other half this morning because I was telling you about the trouble that I've had with memory cards since he pinched it. He pinched me. Just don't leave anything lying around. It was on, I thought I'd put it in a safe place on the sideboard. And you should know by now, don't touch my little, because once I've done the filming, I have to take the memory card out, put it in here, and then it goes onto my computer. And I'd put it on the side for safekeeping, thinking he won't touch that. Went off detecting, I think. Came back, and I just happened to look on the side, and it wasn't there. He'd put it in his security camera on the front for when we're both not in and the parcels get delivered, because we've had a lot of trouble with parcels going missing. So he set these cameras up to make sure that these parcels were being delivered when they're supposed to. But he'd taken my memory card, didn't even ask me, just took it. You guys, naughty. You're naughty. Naughty, naughty, naughty. So how are you getting on? Are you enjoying this project? Looking good? I think it's great, and because we're doing the over and under around the cording on each pass, on each bead, on each section that we add, it adds a lovely, I'll show you at the end, or on this one, it puts a lovely little pattern on the edge, and everything looks so neat and tidy. So, have I just come up through there? No, I haven't. So, up, up. Enjoying this project, guys? Is it something that you've been itching, wanting to do, or have you done it before and you've just popped along to see how I do mine? If you have, welcome and thank you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to drop a comment, I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to hear what you've all been up to, or if you've got anything to say. I had a troll for a while. Somebody kept on leaving horrible comments. We won't go into that though, eh? We don't want to talk about that, do you? We don't want to remember all that. So shall I leave you now and let you carry on? We've only got a few more to add. Do one at a time, Jane, because you get yourself in a right pickle. Have you noticed how much easier it's gotten as just the end, the beginning, is a little bit faffy? So I might leave you now then, guys, instead of watching me add all these on. Leave you for a few minutes and then come back and we'll finish the end off together. How about that? Is that alright? Happy with that? Okie dokie, so we'll catch up with each other when we've put on the last of our Tila beads. Not many to go. And we're back. Right then, so I've put all my Tilas on. All my Tila beads are on. And we're just going to do now the reverse of what we did up here. Okay. So, picking up 2 seed beads of the 8 O's, 2 8O seed beads, through one side, through the other side. I'm hoping you're enjoying this project, guys. I really hope that you do. I just need to pull this thread through a little bit. So remembering then to pull the thread and not the needle. Okay. Through the middle. Through the middle. Put our threads up. One side, and then side. Point through the centre. You know what you're doing now. You know. Picking up our last 8OC bead. Passing our needles through one side and the other. Popping it down into position. Through the middle. Through the middle. Popping it up. Through one side. Then the other. Trying hard not to pierce our thread. Popping that into place. Yay! Right, now then, now we come to finishing. Might bring you in just a wee bit. Right, so our threads are over the top at the moment. We're going to go through and over the top, go through, pulling our threads together. Oh, missed it. Take that back out. Right, that's better, Jane. So our threads are both coming out over the top, underneath, underneath, right. Now one through one side underneath, one through the other side underneath. Get latched on Percy, pull our needles through, and then tying a knot over the top. So bringing our threads over the top, like that, and going through the loop before we tighten it. Make sure our threads are all in position. Excellent. And just another one. Excellent. And then through there again. Through. There again. Over the top. Crossing over underneath. And then over the top. that out. It's causing a loop. Going through the loop. Just like tying an overhand knot. 1, 2. Fabuloso. And now I'm just going to weave my threads underneath, through the seed bead, underneath, through the 2 seed beads, catching one of the threads, pull up a little loop, going through the centre of the loop, pulling that knot down, going underneath, going through the bead, the Tila bead, and because this leather is really soft, you may be able to, just like I've done, poke the needle through and then cut off. And then with the other side, doing the same thing. Going through, over the top, through the seed bead, going underneath, through 2 seed beads, going underneath. This time we're going to go through that Tila bead because we don't want the knots being in the same place. I hope my hands aren't covering. Going underneath, through the Tila bead. Ow! Stab yourself. Not wanting to go through that bit of leather. So no worries, we'll go for the next one. No rush. Underneath. Through the Tila bead and through the leather. And cut our needles off. Yay! So all we need to do now is I'm just going to widen you out now. I hope that was clear. I'm just going to turn it over, cut off my cording, remove my tray out the way and my bead mat out the way, take my cording off, and this is what we have thus far. Look at that, gorgeous. Oh, lovely. So we just need to finish it off then, guys. Okay, so I'm going to undo this little knot that I had in the end here, Right, we're going to tie an overhand knot right here at the end, okay? So, wrapping it round then, popping our ends through, and just easing with our fingers, placing that knot where we want it to be, and we want it to be right over this end here. So just manipulating it, squeezing it with our fingers, pulling, sorry guys, pulling one side of our leather and then the other side of our leather, just positioning where we want it to be. Now somebody might say, well, you've got a waist there. I know it might look like a waist, but you need something to work with. I don't like working with little tiny bits, and I know what you're going to say, that's a waist, but there might be things that you can use it for, use your ends for. Right, and then we need to make the little clasp where our button's going to go through. Okay, so all it says, how I do mine is I measure probably about just the thickness of my finger, and I know that I want my next knot to be there. So another overhand knot then, she says, another overhand knot, making your loop, popping your tails through. Mine to be width of my finger, so just easing those and pushing the knot, manipulating, that's another good word, manipulating the leather. Again, pulling one cord and then the other, giving it a little wiggle, just making sure that our button will go through there, and it will, I'm sure of it. Yeah, mine goes through lovely. Don't want it any smaller, don't want it any bigger. Okay, so taking that back out now. If you wanted to, you could put a little bit of glue, but I wouldn't. I don't think it needs it. Providing you've tied that knot nicely, making sure everything sits nicely, and you've pulled and tightened your leather. And remembering this is nice, soft, supple leather. And we can cut off our ends. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, one side, and you can do like a design thing if you wanted to, one longer than the other. So I've only got that much waist. It's not a lot, is it? And there we have our finished Tila bracelet. Give yourselves a great big pat on the back. And because the leather is so soft, it's really supple. It's really supple. It's lovely. Really soft. And there we have our bracelet. Perfect for my size. So what do you think then, guys? What do you think? Ready for spring and summer. And it'll match everything that you wear. Denims, greys, blacks, pinks, lilacs, yellows, golds, blues, reds. because we've got all those colours in our bracelet. So there we are then. There's our Tila Wrap Bracelet. Like I say, if you wanted to make it so they were a long wrap and sat like that next to each other, or you could just do stackables and stack them. Ooh, I really love it. I really love it. And I love these little shell buttons. So pretty and so shimmery, and they just match the project absolutely. Now remember then guys that everything that I've used in today's video will be in the description box below the video. Make sure that you go and check out bbcraft.com and check out all their goodies that they have on their site, and I hope that you go on to purchase from them and use the coupon code Jane5. That makes me go all warm and fuzzy inside, thinking that I can save you guys a little bit of money. I think that's lovely and very kind of BB Craft to do that. So we've used the shell buttons from BB Craft, we've used the Tila Beads, and we've used the leather accordion, all from bbcraft.com. Make sure that you go and check them out. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this bit of time that we spent together. Really enjoyed having you along. And if you're new to my channel, thank you very much. Thank you. Giving you the thumb. I've given you the thumb. Please leave me a thumb. Like the video. Drop me a comment. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Take good care now. Much love and very happy beading.